idea came from. But this is a legitimate acrobatic air show. I mean, it's a big deal.
It's absolutely incredible, Senator. To put this in perspective, this is not only the largest air show in Arkansas, this is the largest air show in the entire South for 2021, and it's already the third largest in the country.
Which is incredible.
It's incredible. I mean, so we're coming out of the gate strong with this, and one of the things that's so cool is that this will help put Saline County on the map, that's why Jason started this. That was his goal a couple of years ago, is do something to put Saline County on the map. And already we've gotten, it's so awesome to see hotels booking up, filling up in Bryant, Saline County, because we've got calls from all over the United States, Arizona, Texas, Colorado, Michigan, Illinois, you name it. And Jason's gotten calls from folks, Mexico, Canada, you name it.
Mexico, Canada, Washington. It's just an amazing thing.
Well, let's go back to how you got the idea, because I misspoke a while ago, but I was out there because it was a race, and they picked Saline County Airport in Bryant as one of their stop-off points. How did all that come about?
Judge Airy in his office got this. They just picked us to be one of the stops that year, and we were supposed to be the second stop. That's what was fascinating about it. And there was a rain delay, and the actual racers actually were 2 hours ahead of schedule, and they actually landed, and we were expecting 250, 300 people. There was 2,500, 3,000 people that showed up, and we were all standing there. The fire department was cooking hamburgers and hot dogs for everybody, and they just kept running and get more hamburgers and hot dogs, and that showed us there's a real interest for everybody that wanted to come to the airport. Well, the city of Bryant's built a new parkway that's going to be coming right by the airport, and us being who we are, the Chamber of Commerce, that got me thinking we need to do something to highlight our airport, because we've got a lot of stuff going on out there that we have a beautiful airport, beautiful FBO. It's true economic development that can happen out there. And so what better way to highlight it and put on an air show that everybody across the country can come to? Because our number one, a lot of people don't know this, but our number one export for the state of Arkansas is aviation.
Mm-hmm.
Most people think it's rice, but it's not. It's actually aviation. And so we're pretty proud of that.
Well, and Saline County's got a great airport out there, and I know there's some efforts underway to extend the runway. That's always kind of been the long-term goal, so we can bring in the bigger planes. Talk about the airport for just a minute, and then I want to go back to Wings Over Bryant and talk about some of the acts that are going to be there, because you kind of rattled them off kind of quick a while ago. But just talk about the airport for a little bit, because it is a nice airport nestled there on the backside of Bryant, under the hill. So talk about it for a second.
It's a hidden gem. You can actually land in our airport and be in West Little Rock quicker than you can actually land in Little Rock and be in West Little Rock. And once the roadway is completed, you literally can be on Interstate 30 in about 4 minutes. There's private hangars out there that people rent. So they own the hangars. They lease the space from the airport. There's jet hangars out there as well. Our runway is 5,001 feet long. It's an asphalt airport. We have a beautiful FBO.
FBO is?
It's the terminal.
Okay.
That's just the terminal out there. It is a super nice place to be. It's 1,200 acres, and plenty of room to grow.
And develop industry, which falls into your area.
That's
Patrick.
right. We cannot wait for people to come out and see it, because we really believe that this will be the first time a lot of people lay eyes on this airport. I think they're going to be blown away. I know I was the first time I saw it, and it is just right. There's so much wonderful potential in Saline County as a whole, but in particular around the airport area. So we can't wait for all of Central Arkansas, and not only Central Arkansas, but all over the state, all over the region, folks to come in and see what we have and have to offer.
So talking about, you rattled off a bunch of states that people are coming in from. Are they coming in to participate, or are they coming in because they heard it was the third largest air show in the nation or the world?
Both.
What'd you say?
In the nation.
In the nation.
They're coming to watch.
Okay.
Obviously, the pilots and the airplanes are from across the country as well, but people are coming to watch the show. He talked to somebody that's got 18 rooms booked from just one family.
Yeah, from one family outside the greater Phoenix area. And what is so amazing about this, what I've learned and we've all learned, is that, so I'm a sports fanatic from day one, right? But there are aviation flight show fanatics that can rival any football, baseball, basketball fanatic. We have found that out firsthand. So all of these folks around the country are finding out about this through our website, which is wingsoverbryant.com. That's wingsoverbryant.com. And then, as Jason can tell you, it is just like a brush fire. That started being shared online. Our website, social media posts started it being shared. And then these people who we had no idea were watching us, they're watching us, and they're planning to come to Bryant, Arkansas on June 19th.
Are you getting a lot of free suggestions from these people that are those fanatics that you talk about that are saying, hey, are you going to have this, and are you going to do this, and all the freebie advice?
You always have the public want to give you free advice, and we're great with that because I'm one of those people, and I'm not scared to jump into anything, learn as we go, right?
Yeah, that's for sure.
Without a doubt.
I know you. That's for sure.
I have seen it firsthand.
So we'll just hammer down,
no pun intended, but thank you for the free appeal there.
That's right. We'll get after it and learn about it, and we'll make it the best from day one. That's our philosophy, and so that's what we've been doing. But we learn a lot. We learn as we go. But there's people from all across the country that they want to help. They want to volunteer. It's amazing to me the different walks of life that are just coming out of the woodworks that just want to help come put this event on. That's what's fascinating about it.
Okay, so what are some of the acts, for lack of a better term, that you're going to have? Just go through those a while ago, and what is it that people can expect to see when they come out there as far as an air show act? Sure.
One of the coolest things D&T Media, we could not have done this without them. I want to be able to say that. D&T Media is an incredible group of guys. They're actually located at the airport. They do websites, they do media and all this kind of promo videos and things like that. But they built our website for us, and so you can actually go onto our website and go to our you can see all the different acts and performers. And we actually made a video for every performance. So somebody can go to our website, click on the show, and watch it. It's pretty cool. And we've got 14 different acts that they can actually watch, see what it's going to look like. He talks about, Jerry Holmesley's our guy, and he talks about every single act and what it's going to look like. It's pretty neat. But the number one act in the country is Team Aeroshell, and we've got them coming. It's a AT-6 Texan. It's a group of 4 guys that all fly 4 AT-6 Texans. And they fly in formation, real tight ships, close together. And I mean, it is an incredible sight to see. And they fly real close together, and for about 15 minutes is their performance, and then they bust apart and they do their own on. It's an amazing thing to witness. And then we got another guy named Kevin Coleman who flies an extra 300.
Well, obviously it's got Patrick inside. He's over just like a kid.
Mind-boggling.
When I booked this guy, I had both Anna, our events coordinator, and Patrick in the office with me, and I'm watching the videos of him, and I said, okay, do we want to book this guy? Patrick's jaw is literally laying on my desk, and he says, we got to have this guy. He literally makes his plane tumble in the air.
Not over the crowd.
Not over the crowd, obviously.
Okay.
But Jerry Holmesley literally will tell you he's the best pilot he's ever seen in his life, and he's the number one acrobat pilot in the world. He flies for Red Bull, if that tells you how.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I wonder how many he had before he got behind the
exactly.
Got
he
the cockpit.
defies logic and gravity.
It's amazing. You watch that guy, and you're like it looks like you take a paper plane and you throw it, and it does all it. That's what this guy's doing in a real aircraft.
Now you mentioned helicopter rides a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the deal with the helicopter rides?
So we got a guy coming out of Northwest Arkansas. They're the same folks that do in Branson and all that kind of stuff. We have a helicopter coming, probably 2 helicopters, and he'll be giving people helicopter rides.
What are they going to take them over? I mean, what are they?
All Saline County. So
okay.
They'll be able to. It'll be a 4 or 5 minute ride. I can't remember. But he'll take off and he'll fly over Saline County and bring you back.
Okay. All right. That'll be cool.
Right.
Go ahead, Patrick.
No, and one of the things that's so cool about this is that all of these people around the country that we've referenced who are going to be here or following us and watching us, they're impressed by the caliber of performers that we have in year number 1. So yeah, I think you'll find this interesting too, Senator. So the largest air show in America is in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. You know that part of the country. Now, what we say all the time in the chamber is, Why not Bryant? Why not Central Arkansas? Why not us? Why can't we do it? Because we believe we can. And so Oshkosh is a great example that if they can do it up there, and it has impacted that economy in ways you can't even imagine. They can do it there. Why can't we do it in Central Arkansas? And so Jason all came out of the gate swinging, and the same acts that they have there, you're going to see those in Bryant, Arkansas on June 19th. Exact same acts that the biggest air show in America has.
That is cool. So it's going to be the biggest air show, third in the nation, but also in the southern region. Are you already starting to get ideas for the next one?
We're already working on it.
Don't get him started on that. We're going to be here until 6 p.m.
Yeah, we're already working on it. We met with the Airport Commission Tuesday night. They're already on board for next year's. We gave them our plan, so they're on board. We're ready to roll. We're already hitting the ground running for next year.
Well, one thing I shared with you, I wish you'd put on the agenda, and I don't know how hot air balloons and airplanes mix, but I think it'd be cool if you had a hot air race that could either launch or land out there. I think that'd be cool if you could add that to the venue. And I know
agree.
That's a pretty big lift, but Patrick.
And another thing about that goes right back to, if somebody else can do it, why can't we do it in Central Arkansas? The hot air balloon races in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I guarantee there's a lot of people listening that know about that. Maybe you've been there, want to go there. But if you do a little research on that, people from all over the world pour into Albuquerque. I think it's every October for that. But the truth is, that started off so small. It's just tiny. And so look what it's become, this world-class event. I think we believe we can do the same thing in Bryant with Wings Over Bryant.
Okay. Real quick, the website again is wingsoverbryant.com, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it's going to be Saturday, June 19th. Gates open at 10.
Gates open at 10.
What time can people start getting there? Because I know you're expecting a crowd of
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot of folks.
I knew you gave me a number once before, but I didn't know if you wanted to give that over the radio.
Right.
What you're
So
expecting.
what we're doing is we're selling all the tickets. We're really wanting people to go to all the Central Arkansas Big Red stores. 33 Big Red stores in total.
And building.
Sir.
And adding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're
growing daily.
Every day, Big Red's building more stores. But there's 33 in Garland County, Pulaski County, Grant County, and Saline County, and they'll be able to purchase their tickets today. I mean, they can go in there in the stores and buy them today.
Is there a limit?
Nope.
Okay.
They can, and what we're doing is adults are $15 inside the Big Reds. Kids 12 and under are free. Free gate admission. So they can come on. We want them.
How long do you anticipate the air show to be?
So the air show will start at 1, and it'll be over about 3:45.
Okay, so from 10 to 1, you're going to have, I know you're going to have vendors out there, games or what?
There's vendors. There's a massive kids area.
Okay.
We've got bouncy houses and face painting and an airplane train ride, all kinds of stuff to do.
Kid friendly, all the way.
Oh, yeah, 100% family friendly. And we've also added something this past week that's really starting to take off, where we've added a tailgate overlook.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, off the hill up there on the top,
That's right.
on the end. Oh, sweet!
Awesome
So
touch.
if people don't want to mess with the crowd, we've offered that. They can have 4 adult tickets and 4 kids, at the same time. We also have a VIP tent that's got front line that includes food, drinks, everything inside of that as well.
Okay.
All those tickets can be purchased online, including the overlook.
Can you guys hang on? You got to go anywhere? Or can you hang on with me for a while?
We can
Sure.
hang on.
Okay, what I need to do is hit timeout. So you're listening to the Kim Hammer Show here on 101.1 FM. The Answer. You can go up, and I'll get Elizabeth to put up the website of wingsoverbryant.com up on my website, which is www.thekimhammershow.com, www.thekimhammershow.com. We'll get information up there about Wings Over Bryant. But if you guys can hang on,
Sure.
I need to hit the pause button a minute because I've got Senator Missy Irvin that's going to be joining us. We're going to talk about a couple pieces of her legislation that you guys might be interested in. And I just want to put this disclaimer out there, housekeeping. The views and opinions expressed on the Kim Hammer Show are mine and mine alone and that of my guest. They come on and they represent different entities, but also they are welcome to speak as private citizens as well. because we're going to shift gears and go from Bryant, Wings Over Bryant, to gun laws and boys playing in girls sports. And that's why I wanted to get Senator Missy Irvin on, who's actually on the road traveling to see her kids in Florida. So, Missy, I appreciate you taking time out to join me on the Kim Hammer Show, and hope you're having a safe trip.
Thank you.
All right. Great to have you on today. This is Senator Missy Irvin. I've had you on before, but just for references, geographical territory, tell them where you represent, Missy.
Thanks so much for having me on, Kim. Great to be with you from the road. I represent District 18, which is Fulton County up by the Missouri. I go all the way up to Missouri border, and then all the way down to Faulkner County and El Paso Road. I have White County, Cleburne County, Van Buren County, Stone County, Searcy County, parts of Van Buren County, Baxter County, and Marion County. And so it's a big territory. I think I got them all in there: Fulton, Baxter, Marion, Searcy, Stone. Yes.
Why don't you give me the short list of what you don't represent? That'd probably been the better way to go. Where don't you represent? But
yeah, I represent basically all of north central Arkansas. So think of Gooseberry Lake, the White River, the Red River, and Lake Norfolk, and the whole everything up there.
Good deal.
God's country, Ozark National Forest. So glad to be with you guys.
All right. And just so you know, I have Jason Brown, who is the president of the Bryant Chamber of Commerce. I also have Patrick Presley, who is the community development for the Bryant Chamber of Commerce. And we can hit the timeout button as far as what capacity y'all are going to speak in. But, Missy, I've asked them to lay over. We're talking about Wings Over Bryant that's going to be coming up on June 19th in Bryant. And yet I know your time was valuable, and thank you. We're going to hit the pause button talking about that, and we're going to talk about a couple pieces of legislation you ran during this past session. First of all, I'll call it the midnight bill. What was the bill number dealing with the legislation to help stop federal overreach when it comes to Second Amendment? What was that bill number?
House Bill 1957
Okay.
was the bill that we worked on. It was the midnight bill. And it was really the fix or the replacement bill to a Senate bill that was voted on, passed, and then vetoed by the governor. And there were some real issues with it that came to light, I think, in that process. So House Bill 1957 was really the bill that we worked on literally until midnight, I think on Monday night, and then passed it on midnight on Tuesday or Wednesday morning. And the bill itself really was to go back to the intention of the original Senate bill. And the intention of that original Senate bill was, number one, to stop the encroachment of the federal overreach on the Second Amendment, and ensuring that Arkansas citizens' rights to bear arms and to keep their weapons and their guns, ammunition, that would be protected by all means. And so the bill addressed, I think, the original intention, which was very much supported by the legislature, and I think a majority of the citizens in the state, was to say that law enforcement officers cannot assist federal law enforcement agencies or the federal agencies or government in any type of a confiscation of lawful citizens' weapons, and cannot impede upon any law that the state of Arkansas has passed that would protect a person's right to bear arms and the Second Amendment. If a law enforcement agent did cooperate, then they would be subjected to decertification and losing their ability to be a law enforcement agent. And then if it was an elected official, because your county sheriffs and other folks like that are not certified law enforcement employees, or they don't have to be, then an elected official would be subject to an unclassified misdemeanor. And so the bill maintained that. What the bill did, though, was fix certain problems within the original Senate bill, which went too far in banning any and all cooperation with federal agencies. We know that We have local law enforcement agencies and state law enforcement agencies that work very closely with our federal partners, like the FBI, on a lot of cases. And usually those cases are dealing with high-level crimes that would also involve illegal firearms, which would give the ability for prosecutors to assign a harsher sentencing and a harsher penalty. So that was an unintentional issue with the Senate bill that was fixed with the House bill. And then the second that was probably the first and foremost, because there were about 800 cases that were going to be affected with the passage of that Senate bill. And that's unintentional. That was not the intention of the legislature or the Senate, I think, the sponsors. And then the second one was the fact that it had certain legislation, federal legislation listed in the Senate bill, which would prevent the collection of taxes at the federal taxes at the state level. And the truth is that would have affected the Arkansas Game and Fish's funding to the tune of about $20 million. And again, I think that was an unintentional result of the way the legislation was written, the original one, and with what House Bill 1957 fixed.
Okay. I've got to take a break here in about 1 minute, but in looking at the bill, which you can go up to the state website, www.arcleg.ar.gov.us, I think it is. You get that first part started, it'll pull up, and you can pull up the bill, which is House Bill 1957. It's Act 1012 of this session. You got quite a few sponsors on it, for one thing. When you get into the legislative finding or the legislative intent, one of the things the bill starts off doing is clearly defining that the state of Arkansas is firmly resolved to support and defend the U.S. Constitution. In 1 minute or less, because I got to take the break, as far as the intent of the bill, was it always part of the intent to solidify that we firmly resolve that we're going to support the Constitution and any infringement upon it?
That's exactly right. And I think it's important to read the bill. Everybody should pull it up and read the bill, but it's important for us to understand that the Second Amendment in the United States Constitution should be respected and by our federal government. And with the Biden administration, the bill starts this starting January 1 of 2021. Any executive orders or federal overreach and legislation that would violate the Second Amendment of the Constitution or the Arkansas Constitution, and any laws that we have passed in our Arkansas Constitution would be null and void and invalid. And that's very strong language that's in the bill. It is a nullification bill, and I think it's one that, majority of Arkansans feel very strongly about, because they see this gross overreach by the current Biden administration and on the Second Amendment and our ability to be protected under that. Okay.
I've got to take a break. You're listening to the Kim Hammer Show. My guests today are representing the Bryant Chamber, talking about Wings Over Bryant. You can go to wingsoverbryant.com. I've got Jason Brown, the president, and then I got Patrick Presley, the community development director of the Bryant Chamber of Commerce. Also have on the phone all the way now from Florida, State Senator Missy Irvin. We're talking about House Bill 1957, and you come back after the break and we'll pick up the conversation here on the Kim Hammer Show. Welcome back to the Kim Hammer Show. My guests today are Jason Brown, the president of the Bryant Chamber of Commerce. We're talking about Wings Over Bryant. You can go up to wingsoverbryant.com and see all the exciting information about that. We're going to finish up the show coming back and talking about that. Also got Patrick Presley, the community development director for the Bryant Chamber of Commerce, calling in all the way from Florida. Senator Missy Irvin, who's off spending a little time with her kids, which proud that you got a chance to do that. and we're talking about a couple pieces of legislation that Missy ran. Missy, just so you know, I've got two strong Second Amendment right guys who that if you choose to weigh in on the conversation, gentlemen, you can do it as private citizens, not representing your organization. I understand, the separation there, but I know you, Jason, better than I do you, Patrick, but I see what you've got, Jason. So, yeah, so when it comes to strong Second Amendment, right, we got four people in the room on this one, okay?
That's right.
All right.
No doubt.
So, Missy, when it comes to what the bill does, you mentioned something about cooperation with federal agents. This bill still allows for the cooperation of federal agents when it comes to investigations and utilizing the resources between local government, but also what the federal agents bring. But there is a safety wall in there, a firewall, if you would, that in the event under any administration, but particularly the one that we're under now by the Biden administration, that it would prevent them from being able to do anything like seizure of guns, et cetera. Is that correct?
Yes, that's exactly right. And like I said, the original bill really went too far. And we were in consultation with different prosecuting attorneys on the language and we worked closely with the original people that helped draft the original bill, worked up until about, like I said, midnight on Monday night to rewrite the bill. But that there's not the unintentional consequence in the way this bill is written that would prevent our prosecuting attorneys, particularly our U.S. attorneys or those that have worked all across the state, to making sure that they have the ability to still cooperate with our federal agencies when it came to a lot of these high crimes that are currently in the process of being prosecuted. Because of COVID, we've had a kind of a delay in a lot of these cases, and so it was going to jeopardize their ability to fully prosecute those laws. But I think it's important that and I think it's in the last section under the exceptions that this chapter shall not be construed to prohibit or otherwise limit a state law enforcement officer, state employee, or employee of a political subdivision of the state from cooperating, communicating, or collaborating with a federal agency if the primary purpose is not law enforcement activity related to a federal ban as defined under the definition section, which we actually took from the Montana bill, which is in this bill, the definition section, or the investigation of a violation of a federal ban also defined. So we defined federal ban in the legislation, which is consistent with what the state of Montana passed. And so that's really the primary focus and purpose behind this piece of legislation. And I think it's a good one to protect gun owners in the state of Arkansas. And again, like we've discussed many, many times before, Tim, the Second Amendment is there to really protect our First Amendment. And we are a country of freedoms, and we need to remember and check history and how the history of our country and the why it was created in the first place, and why these amendments and these freedoms are so sacred to us as Americans.
Also in the bill, I scroll up and down, I can find the section, but you got 4 key points in here too. Regarding any tax, levy, fee, or stamp imposed on firearms, which is, one of the big concerns as far as how the Biden administration is trying to do or end around by adding excessive taxes to the purchase of equipment, weapons or ammunition, either one. Then you also deal with any registration of tracking of firearms, any registration of tracking of the owners of firearms, and then any act. Where'd you go here? Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. You're right, because then it's not just necessarily a federal ban that we'll ban your weapons, but we'll just tax you excessively out of the ability to utilize that firearm or to have ammunition to make it, to where you can use it. And so that's a big part of the bill. But I'll also say this too, and I need to bring this up under Section 160-105 of the bill and the enumerated rights. That goes to the Arkansas Constitution and all of the freedoms that we enjoy under the Arkansas Constitution. So this bill is not just about firearms. It's actually also about state sovereignty. And so that's why that section about enumerated rights is in there, and making sure that any enumerated right of freedom under Arkansas Constitution Article 2, that they shall be recognized, and all federal laws or acts or orders or rules or regulations that were enacted that infringe on those rights will not be recognized in this state, and are specifically considered null and void, and have no effect in this state if they impede upon what's written in our own Arkansas Constitution under Article 2, which lists our right to assemble, like go to church and worship together, and all those things. And so, this bill is more than just a Second Amendment bill. It's really a state sovereignty bill, and it's a nullification bill that says our rights of freedom of speech, freedom to assemble, freedom to protect ourselves, freedom to bear arms, all of those are protected under this piece of legislation, which is consistent with our Arkansas Constitution, which is put in place by the citizens of our state. And so I wanted to point that out as well as a big part of this bill, and why I think people were so passionate about this, including myself and Representative Wardlaw and Senator Stubblefield and Representative Smith.
One of the other thing, and then we'll move on to something else, but it also had listed in their lawsuit, but I found an act ordering the confiscation of firearms accessories, like clips and stuff like that, and ammunition from law-abiding citizens. So you got 5 key points in the bill as far as what we have in the way of safeguards regarding federal overreach. Sound like you're on the beach. Are you on the beach?
No, I'm so sorry. I'm here with my kids. Say hi, Ike.
Hello.
Hey.
She's on the firing range.
I know. We are in Covington, Georgia. So we met along the road, and so we're standing in the square in Covington, Georgia. It's really
cool.
beautiful. It's where they filmed the show Vampire Diaries, apparently.
Cool.
So.
Wow. Okay, you're at a place of history. Well, tell your kids thanks for giving up. Yeah. Tell your kids thanks for giving up valuable time. Let me do this before we move on to talk about your other second piece of legislation regarding, gender in sports and crossing over and all that stuff. Let me just ask you guys are as private citizens, I will say, clarify, any comments you want to weigh in as far as what you feel as a private citizen about this law, and what your opinion or what your position is on it?
I want to thank you very much for that legislation. That means a lot to me personally, for protection. It really does.
Jason deals with, he's a collector, I will say, of firearms, and member of a big lease, and has a high appreciation for the value of Second Amendment rights. So from a citizen, that's great. Patrick?
Yeah, I want to thank you for all the work you're doing on this. You have probably more support than you even know and realize. And I really believe the following. This is such a slippery slope. And I think a lot of people's eyes have opened up to that. So you are doing phenomenal work, and you got a lot of support out there. And I can tell you, I'm one of them too. Very good. All right, there you go, Missy, all the way from Bryant, Arkansas. And you don't even represent them, but they're appreciative. So, all right.
Y'all, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thanks. That means a lot that means a lot to me. Thanks.
All right. What's the other bill dealing with males playing in female sports? What was that bill number?
Oh, goodness. Okay. Senate bill. I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But it's Fairness in Women's Sports Bill, okay. And I'll look it up while we're talking. The Fairness in Women's Sports Bill gives a legal course of action for a citizen who has been affected by a male playing in a female sport. So it is effectively banning biological men, from competing in and participating in female sports and biological girl sports. And for me, this was a very important piece of legislation. And so it gives them a course of action through the judicial system to be able to sue the institution or the school and even an individual. And I think that's really important. So We've seen this happen. Connecticut was really ground zero for this happening. There were two young girls that have trained all their lives to be to compete in track. And if you competed in track, you know how hard that is to reach your PR and to beat your PR all the time. And you have to start at an early age to train for that. And then to continue your training. And so there were two biological males who were competing against males in track in the state of Connecticut. And within a few weeks, they switched over and started competing they identified as girls and started to compete in girls track. And basically these two biological males, they took, I think there were 15 championships and records and everything else that they just swept, where had been those titles and those achievements and those championships and accomplishments had been held by 9 different girls previously. And these two men basically came in and, just dominated in track and took away those, girls' abilities to compete and win, those championships. And they would have easily won them if you had looked at their scores and the historical records and everything and the way they had been competing up until that point in girls sports. So I don't think that's right. There's a difference between a boy and a girl. There's a very physical difference. We have rules for eligibility, and there are purposes for those rules of eligibility to ensure that there's a fair playing field. And those rules of eligibility exist all across the map. Even where you live is a rule of eligibility. So, I think we need to maintain those, and we need to understand common sense and accept that there are very, very, very significant differences between a male and a female when it comes to your biology and your composition and your muscular composition and those advantages. There's physiological advantages that boys have over girls, and so it's not a fair playing field, and we know that there's an eye test but there's also measurements, and so we are a society based on science and facts. And so that's what this bill did. It was to ensure that. So I'm proud that we passed it. It's a gold standard piece of legislation that other states used to pass in their states. We went all the way. So it's K through 12 plus higher ed. Some states pulled out the higher ed piece because of the threats from the NCAA, but we did not. We stood firm and we passed our legislation, and I think it's the gold standard. And then other states started following suit, and as you can see, it did not affect us because we're on the list to host regionals and super regionals for baseball.
All right, I think Patrick wants to weigh in on this one because he's coached before or coaches currently. So go ahead, Patrick.
That's right. In the past and present, I really want to commend you and thank you for all the work you're doing on this, because as someone who has coached and still coaches coached my daughter's teams, coached my granddaughter's track team that's active and current, I would just say this. There is a difference, and I have a lot of friends on the left, and they talk about women's issues all the time, and I challenge them, where are you on this issue? If you really care about women's issues, where are you on this? Because the only people being hurt by this are women.
Exactly. Thank you and amen. And I'm a girls' high school soccer coach, and I started the high school girls' soccer program at Mountain View, and amen, and thank you for coaching. And you're exactly right. I had to fight like tooth and nail just to get a girls' soccer program, into Mountain View High School. And to work hard just to get those girls the opportunity to compete on the soccer field and start a soccer program so that they had the ability to compete. And you're right. I mean, this basically wipes away 50 years of accomplishments under Title IX that was passed 50 years ago. And so, why would people on the left that are so-called feminists or women's activists, why would they be opposed to this issue? Because this is a dismantling of girls' sports. And there are so many statistics of women CEOs that played in female sports. I mean, I was an athlete, I mean, there's all kinds. It shows they're women athletes. If you're an athlete and you're a woman, there are statistics, and it's documented in studies that you're going to achieve a higher level of success, perhaps in your careers and in your and what you're going to achieve academically. And so, why would you be opposed to this? It was just remarkable to see the attacks that got launched, at me and others regarding this issue. In fact, I made the cover of the Arkansas Times Magazine, which, they
badge of honor, girl, badge of honor.
Yeah, I'm portrayed as a witch. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but
Hey, you deserve a gold medal for the work you've done on that. I truly, truly mean that.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, it's been a joy. I'm so supportive of your Wings Over Wings Over
Bryant.
Over. Is it Bryant? Bryant. Okay. Wings Over Bryant. I think that's awesome. I have friends that go out to the hot air balloons event that you were talking about in New Mexico. It's tremendous, and they love it. They go every year. So I wish great success to you guys, and thank you so much, Kim, for having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, appreciate it, Missy, and tell your kids thanks for giving up your valuable time, and appreciate the work you did on those two bills. I just want to make sure the Kim Hammer Show listening audience had a chance to hear it straight from the person who sponsored the bill and get it accurately.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great and blessed weekend.
All right.
Thank you.
You too.
Thanks, Missy. If you want to look up those bills, you can go up to www.arcleg.state.ar.us. That's www.arcleg.state.ar.us. One thing I would encourage you is that if you really want to know what the bill says, don't take somebody else's interpretation for it. Go up to that website on any piece of legislation that's been run and read the bill for yourself, because a lot of times whenever somebody reports on it, there may be a slant on it. There may be a perspective, a view on it that is not necessarily reflective of what the legislation says. And that legislation is the law. Doesn't matter what gets written about it. Doesn't matter what anybody says about it. The legislation is the law. So educate yourself and go up and look up all these bills that have been introduced that we're talking about. By the way, as a side note, for the last 2 weeks on the Kim Hammer Show, we've been talking about the legislation that I worked with, along with a core group of other legislators, regarding election integrity. And this week, 4 lawsuits have been filed by the liberals regarding House Bill 1715, House Bill 1715, House Bill 1112, Senate Bill 643, and Senate Bill 486. All of those were signed into law. I think that perhaps we have hit a nerve because they have filed a lawsuit. But I want to tell you something. Anybody that fights against election integrity, you better call their integrity into question, because if you don't protect the right to vote, and if you don't make sure that it's a fair process, then you need to call into question those that are doing such things. But we'll see how it plays out in the legal system. I understand that this has been assigned to Judge Griffin. We'll see how that plays out. But that is, again, House Bill 1715, House Bill 1715, House Bill 1112, Senate Bill 643, and Senate Bill 486. We talked about each one of those pieces of legislation over the last couple of weeks on the Kim Hammer Show. So you can go back up to my website, which is www.thekimhammershow.com. Go up there on the YouTube section. You can download, and you'll hear the legislators that help craft all of these talk about them, so you can be educated for yourself about it. All right, we're going to finish up the show talking about a good thing, which is Wings Over Bryant, coming up on June 19th. Gates open at 10. It'll go till about 3:30 by the time the air shows. But I guess after the air show's done, people can hang around and play the games and do the family activities after that.
Eat all the food trucks still and all that kind of fun stuff.
So what food trucks you going to have there?
Oh, man, we got all kinds. We're going to have about 25 total.
Woo.
Oh, yeah.
You can't find something to eat. You're just too picky.
That's
man.
right.
You name it, we got it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, name off a few of them.
We're going to have Rick's Riverside Grocery. We're going to have Jimmy
Catfish.
Jerks. Oh, yeah, Catfish. We're going to have Jimmy Jerks. We're going to have
Jimmy Jerks is what now?
Jerk chicken.
Jerk chicken. There
Yeah,
you
it's
go.
phenomenal.
Okay.
Really, really
Let's
good.
just go to the website and we'll pull some of them up.
Yeah, I got your website pulled up, and it is a sweet-looking website.
It
I mean, you're
really
getting
is.
good
Isn't that
reviews
awesome?
on it.
We are, like, we've had people that's been in the business for 40 years in the air show business. They tell us that the website and the marketing, they've never seen anything like it. So we're pretty proud of that.
Well, and let's give credit where credit's due, because I'm looking at, and you can go up to the website, which is wingsoverbryant.com. Some of your sponsors, I noticed the big one at the top is the Arkansas Heart Hospital.
They are.
Otherwise referred to as Encore.
That's
down
right.
there in Bryant, in Saline County on the I-30 there. You got Arvest, Nissan, McClarty, First Security, Clark and Company. Oh, Big Red. There's Big Red.
That's right.
Great community supporters, State Farm. You can just go on down the list and look at all the good supporters. You got a lot of supporters, man.
We do.
Got a lot of people.
This is a major, major undertaking, and we have a tremendous amount of partners. We're pretty proud of it, and it's growing every day. And this next week, with your help, obviously being on the radio, and we have about 10 radio stations that we're about to be on this next week, and billboards across the state.
Sweet. But was the Kim Hammer Show the first one?
You're the very first.
There you
radio.
go,
That's
man.
Right out of the gate.
That's
yeah.
right.
Okay. There you go. Be here first or be left. Okay. Go ahead.
That's our philosophy.
That's right. That's right.
It's really going to take off this next week. No pun intended for the air show.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Okay. These guys are fun. I want to tell you something. You get these, I mean, you think it's fun here. Y'all see it when they get off the radio, man.
Oh, yeah.
They're cut ups,
we
man.
try to have fun at work. That's what we do.
I'm looking at your food truck thing on here, too.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got,
Pretty impressive.
And
huh?
not all of them are on there. Like, we've got several that aren't on there yet.
hey, you got Chef Surge coming, man.
We do. We
Woo.
do.
The
Yeah.
one and only.
Yeah, man. But you got the Trippy Hippie Tacos, too.
Yeah. He's good.
Yeah.
Fred Poe owns that. He's a good guy.
He does a breakfast, too, out of
He
that thing,
does.
if I remember right.
He
So
does.
you can get breakfast, lunch, and supper all at one shot at the Wings Over Bryant. That's
And they
cool.
told me yesterday they're going to do that ice cream taco. What's that thing called? It's like a taco shell with ice cream in the middle of it. It's
the one with
frozen.
5,000 calories per bite?
Hey.
7,500. Who's counting?
Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to Wings Over Bryant to worry about your weight, man.
No,
You're just
not
going
at
to go
all.
have a good
Absolutely
time
not.
and
Amen.
go to church on Sunday and confess.
That's
Okay.
right.
right.
That-
That's
what
right.
we'll
I'm
do.
with you.
Yeah. You got a great looking website up here. Everybody needs to go to go to wingsoverbryant.com, pull up that website. Okay, here's the question we don't want to think about, but I got to ask. I'm sorry. What if it rains?
We do have a rain date.
Okay.
We don't want to release that yet until we get closer to time, but we do have a rain date. There is
Okay.
a secondary date.
Okay, good deal. So people won't miss it if it rains.
That's
They just
right.
have to pick the other date.
That's
Okay.
right.
Man, this is Father's Day weekend. What a gift.
Huge.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like it worked out. It worked out beautiful. One of the acts that we wanted, they couldn't do our original date, and they came back with a date. And I looked at the calendar and I was like, "Well, that works out perfectly." And so we ran with it,
Okay.
and we did the kids 12 and under free at the gate. And it works.
Well, I tell you what, for all the fun stuff you're going to have, for that ticket price, 12 and under, that's a
Oh man,
that's a good
it's
deal. That's
unbelievable.
affordable.
It is, and that's what we
affordable.
want to do. We you
Yep.
know, it's a super expensive deal to put this on, but we want to make sure that all the families across the state, across the country, can come to it and enjoy it.
Are they going to be charged for parking?
No,
Free parking?
free parking.
Man, that's better than the carnival.
How about that?
Yeah. that's
Free parking.
free parking.
Wings Over Bryant.
Okay. And you're going to have the VIP section where they can, is that, you can get the tickets online?
Tickets online. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right. And then Friday night, you got some event, VIP thing
That's
going on or
yes,
something?
sir. That's for
Okay.
our. Yep.
For your sponsors.
Yep.
That's cool. Got a full weekend then.
Yes, sir.
All right. I got about 2 minutes, I think. Is that right, Russ? Anything? Oh, I got 1 minute. All right. So in 30 seconds less, anything you want to say about Bryant?
Hey, the only thing I would say is we want to invite everyone out there listening. Bring your father, bring your grandfather, come out. It's going to be a remarkable weekend, June 19th. Be with us, Wings Over Bryant. Go to wingsoverbryant.com for all information. And one more thing, I want to challenge all your listeners. Come out and show the folks in Wisconsin, another show in Florida, show them what we can do in Central Arkansas on June 19th.
Do it better in Central Arkansas.
That's right.
Absolutely. It's
True
what we're all
patriots
about.
will be there. That's for sure.
That's right.
That's right. Good deal. All right. Well, you've been listening to the Kim Hammer Show, and my guest today have been Jason Brown, president of the Bryant Chamber of Commerce, also Patrick Presley, the community director of Bryant Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming out. Go up to that website one more time, wingsoverbryant.com, or you can go up to the KimHammerShow.com website, and we'll have information as well that you can connect to it. Thank you for listening to the Kim Hammer Show today. Hope you have a great weekend. And relief is coming on I-30, so just hang on. The Calvary's coming. It's going to get better. Thanks for joining me.